What up, what up, what up, everybody? Lonnie here, Charts and Labs. I hope everyone's having a great day. Oh, let's turn this down. Uh, Down. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. And fix my light. So this is actually the Friday Payday series kind of redo. I did this yesterday. Wasn't crazy about it. Was going to try to edit it up a little bit. And I figured I'd just reshoot it. So let's hop in and not waste any time. Didn't have anybody joining us, so we didn't have any Q&A around yesterday. So now I could just do more of a presentation style. All right, so this screen is speartrades.com. They also have their app. Met these guys at the Bitcoin 2026 in Vegas. Really cool platform, really good guys. They're what they're building is kind of what I was actually thinking about building myself. But they just did a really good job and are a lot farther along than me trying to build this. So let's just use it. One of the best things that you can do to become a better investor, better trader, better um, wealth builder and self-managing is you got to use as many tools as you have possible. Using tools doesn't mean that you have less inclination or instincts to the trading. You're not supposed to just guess. So the more validity, the more tools you have, the better research you're going to be able to complete, and the better chances you'll have it being successful. So this is really nice tool to be able to get in the top 100 cryptos. The top 100 is kind of your driving force, higher dynamic of all things crypto. And these are all your much more mature, very established projects. None of the small market cap, none of the really just instant startups, unless they're heavily institutionally backed, would be in the top 100. So this is going to give you a good rundown of the direction that things are going. You can see in this top 37, we have a lot of bias that have a very good bullish rating. This uses tons of different technical analysis algorithms to get a good consensus of what's going on in the market. You can see, through the coins, you can set up some screeners, you can set up a lot of this. Here's your leaderboard. You can see a lot of the big movers are actually outside of the top 50, and that's because their market cap is smaller, so it can be influenced a lot quicker, and the moves will be a lot bigger when they do have something positive. The one thing that you know about smaller market caps is those bigger exciting announcements create that bigger move. So market value of the entire crypto market, 24-hour volume of the entire crypto market, a nice little comparison of gold and the US dollar for ranking. This is one that a lot of people follow is the market dominance that Bitcoin holds of 60%. And this is kind of a scale rating of that where everything leans towards Bitcoin over the altcoins. So let's look at Bitcoin. When you click on it, gives you a nice little background of it, kind of a little basic intro. You see this chart, we're learning candles. Some people are much more comfortable with the lines, but learn the candles because the candles are telling. When you see like this candle here, the open is the bottom of the base. It opened at 78,780. The close is the top of the base, and that is 80,233. The low, that 78,141, is where that bottom wick ended, the skinny line off the top, off the bottom of it. And then the high was 80,567, the wick off the top. So candles are very important to learn and become comfortable with because they share so much data in within them of a range. And each candle is a representation of a time period depending on which time period you're looking at. So your candles do change, something to be mindful of. So you go through, we got a nice little rating where they have broke down all things around it and gave them a fundamental score, a trend and momentum score, the technical analysis. And this is where somebody who's learning to try to read these charts themselves should use this as a basic kind of backbone to your research. So one, it's going to tell you what the numbers on these indicators mean. 63, this is building momentum, momentum turning down, bullish weakening, building momentum, bullish. So you're like, oh, so what does that mean? How do I get this 63? What is an RSI? Well, that's your relative strength index. It's a momentum indicator, shows that the price is moving up too fast or down too fast. It helps traders understand the pressure, the buying and selling pressure. Why is this an important tool for us to use? Markets move in waves, not straight lines. RSI helps identify when a move is getting too fast or too weak. Um, and it gives context for the price direction by showing whether the current move is healthy or overstretched or the opposite, vice versa. So this also tells you the numbers that they rank at each one and what they label in that range and what it means from what's scoring on that. So as you're learning these indicators, start with just a couple and look at them, learn them, see if they make sense to you, and if you're able to gather the right information to where you can capture this building momentum visual without having to use this guide and you're able to see it yourself. Earning movement, this is an exponential moving average. Um, it's more weight to recent candles. And then your simple moving average, trend indicator, fixed number of periods, equal weight given throughout. So Ichimoku clouds, there's a ton more. These are just some of the most popular ones that they're using. So maybe try to get familiar with this because as you're in, say, TradingView and you're following them, you come in to here and you can add your or right there. That's my indicator. But you click here and you can add your indicators. These are some of the built-in ones, or you just search which one you want to do. And I don't know why it says copy. I will leave it. I think I actually made it twice. But you can add those. So start with some simple ones, start looking at them, and as you're analyzing, you can see, and then you come back to spear trades and you're like, yep, I see the same thing, or I can see that without having spear trades. Tell me that I'm seeing that. These are your resistance zones, your support zones, and that pivot point that we kind of want to see it above. So looking for us to see Bitcoin above 80,000, and we're at this 82. So, or 80,200, I'm sorry. So our next level is the $600 level. So let's go back. Let's look at some that are actually in this top 10 or top 50 that actually are impacting TXC. With the merge mining that's going and has become much more successful and more impactful to the project, Dogecoin is kind of the big leader in what's driving that value for the mine to be sustainable. So we see that there was a little bit of a run up, a little bit of a sell off, came back down, trying to regain this momentum, looking to probably have to get over here. Let's see what it says. These are the different exchanges that they're tracking to see the different prices. And then you can see that there's a little bit of a variance, but for the most part, it's about the same. Nice, healthy fundamental score. Our technical analysis of what's going on. And performance is kind of in the moderate risk zone where it's but we're overall looking bullish with Dogecoin. So let's go back and check the Litecoin, who seems to be doing a little bit better. Look at this big run up and spike. Switch this to candle. Yeah, a nice solid Litecoin move. So that's very cool. Fundamentals are a little bit lower on Litecoin. There was a little bit of some stagnant movement with Litecoin for a while, but their ETF flow is picking, or well, they got an ETF, so their institutional inflow is going to be picking up. So you'll probably see a little bit of a drive on the price and a little bit more consistency in it. Technical saying bullish. We're at some very bullish technical breakdowns. We're looking for 59, 60, 62, as long as we hold 57, 90. or is the next point we have to get over. So we're actually a little bit below that. So since we're below that, we have to hold 56.80, 55.28, 54. These are just kind of the classic ones. A lot of people use the Fibonacci levels. These are a couple different indicators that people can use. So yeah, Spirit Trades is a great tool I suggest people look at. I have, so when you go into, let me see, resources, where are we at? Just to give you a little rundown of this, if you do the free version, you get 13 coins and tokens, the top 13, five AI questions, all the insights and analytics on those 13 coins. Just basically think of it as like the top 10 plus probably the three stable coins. Unlimited portfolio insights, unlimited custom alerts. So using this free version, very handy. But if you do want to start building into more of an active trader and get a little bit more in depth, $20 per month, you would get 50 coins and tokens, 15-day questions, all insights and analytics, unlimited portfolio insights, unlimited custom alerts, private alerts and signals, and back-tested signals using they have an algorithm that helps indicate for trades and such. So you can build in and start becoming more of an active trader and using them and all of their support and algorithms and analytics to to help you and get some signals of when to buy and sell so that you can be successful actively. So you can get that for $20 a month if you want. Or you can just use the free one for the top 10. But if you want to expand out and get into bigger projects or more projects, 240 coins will get you pretty active and you'll see a lot more. 50 questions a day, all the insights, private, back tested, quick support. If you are looking to build out a serious portfolio, $50 per month with their algorithm and help support screening and researching. One of my favorite tools that I've been utilizing these guys for in my daily routine, go get the coffee started, come over and we throw on, I throw this up either on the computer or on my iPad. I go over to the resources, go over to the news, and you can follow the most recent news. Here's a couple of the main bigger blog sources for this news, but here are your articles broken down. If you wanted to be specific into one, like say you're like, I really want to know about what's going on with Litecoin news, you can in their screen, come over here to the news tab, and then it'll give you the Litecoin specific news or news that directly affects Litecoin. When you come out to the dashboard and you go into the resources and the news, it is the whole crypto market. So this will go to everything. MoonPay says stablecoin regulation, open the door, but infrastructure must follow. So this is talking about the Clarity Act, most likely. Pentagon's UAP files include Apollo moon photos. Coinbase X402 powers Amazon's AI agents, agent payments. Virginia redistricting vote erased by state court. Must have been some AI stuff going on over there. OpenAI nears IPO nears as revenue crosses 25 billion. So and Kraken. So great. I mean, even if you're just trying to keep up with the news and you don't want to have to try to go search Google and find out what's going on in crypto, you don't want to go through any of that crazy Spirit Trades, go to the news tab and you'll be able to go through that right there directly. So let's jump into some direct charts. I know a lot of people are specifically wanting to see what's going on with Texacoin's price. So we have these two lines here that are back in March, towards the end of March. We had a good little run up and we wicked out here at the 24 cent. This was another video that I was doing. We had a good chunk of viewers. I think we had like 80 viewers and we had some people starting up some grid bots and getting some activity going and saw the value in that. So we had a good little run up in this little 4 hour window. But price has kind of plateaued off that and came down. And then beginning of April, we had a big sell off. And then we've kind of starting to see a little bit of a mini sell off here, right here in the last week or so. and mostly the last couple days. There's a lot of people who are chasing some other projects. There's new projects coming out that are very fast money, bright and shiny, and you can see people that have had liquidity sitting in this project for a year plus and or coming up on a year maybe, and they're running out of patience, so they're pursuing other projects. No harm, no foul. Go to where you need to be. Everybody's financial situation is different. So if we come into just the last couple, let's zoom in and go into just the 1 hour. And we can see this goes back to, what did we want to go back to? A nice little spike. On Friday, spiked all the way up to the 15 cent mark. Um, Before kind of fading off. So there was a pretty good little buy action here. Um, Somebody bought a lot in that window, but no orders followed, no orders continued afterwards. So we go into WeBot. This is you can see I have like several. I think I have $7,000 in bots that are active. But let's go into manual and kind of see this. So this is your order book on WeBot. WeBot is probably the most active of the U.S. exchanges. With Texacoin being a U.S. crypto, this is probably where the most users are participating. A lot of them are taking advantage of that grid bot strategy to accumulate more coins and put in some active liquidity, not just stagnant liquidity. The difference in that is most people come in and they'll say they want like, man, 11 cents, what a great deal. I'm going to buy $100 worth and I'm going to get, a whole bunch of coins. Um, and that's great. Boom, go buy your $100 worth, get a whole bunch of coins. But if they just do that, exit out of the app, leave it, or if they transfer it to their cold wallet, boom, they're done. And then that liquidity is there for that one moment, but then it's gone. What TXC is lacking is the active liquidity and that participating liquidity. And that's where the grid bots are a much better strategy for most people. Setting in some of these where they're actively placing multiple orders, and building around and creating volume, continual volume. And if you don't want to do that, even just buying at 0.1132 and then setting your sell order up here at 0.115 or even higher, 0.12, you know, putting that back on the order book, but putting it above the price will create that there's a liquidity pocket above the current. So the liquidity is naturally going to the market is going to naturally go towards liquidity. If the only participation that people are putting in is when they come in and they're like, oh man, 11 cents, I wonder if I'm going to be able to get it for less. And they put in, you can see that the larger chunk of the buys are right down here at the lower end of 11 cents, is people are trying to get a deal. So as the price comes down to that, because there's no orders above, there's no market buys pressing the price forward, the market makers and the market itself will naturally look for a completed transaction. And if that's lower, it will naturally go lower. And then it creates more people selling because they're like, oh no, it's going down. I need to sell now before it goes down more, which creates selling pressure. Selling pressure is going to continually push the price down. The only way for this price to start going back up is you need to see the value in it. So you need to see that these utility projects like the crypto.ai bringing on, showing people not just the beginning stages of money, barter, and trade, the evolution that progressed into currency, and the evolution that's progressing towards crypto, and why crypto is becoming a staple in our modern day. Crypto AI is teaching people that and giving people that comfortability and familiarity with crypto and its use cases and why it's good money. So that's the crypto UAI, and it's also teaching. There's also going to be a segment of um, teaching specifically around the Texacoin project, the Iskander project, and some of the other projects, so that people have a good familiarity with the projects themselves. So as they go out and tell people about them, they're spreading good information. So that's out there and coming as well. And then you see the Texacoin. We got looking for ambassadors. looking for, oh, the Polo Cup is today, and you'll see Texacoin is the official main sponsor there. So you're going to see a lot of new eyes are going to be seeing this project. Um, Bobby teaching and talking on all things. Uh, the Bitmart event co-hosted, and they announced Iskander will be launching initially on Bitmart. It looks like it's going to be maybe a week or two out for Bitmart to get that dialed in and finished. Um, got the Gulf Coast tour these guys are going through and presenting about what's going on. Zero fees, open bar, team doing some more teaching, Polo Cup event. So this is the kind of social media page in a way that you can engage the community and become a participating member without having to put more money into the liquidity of the markets themselves. And this is something that's going to ultimately drive and showcase a strong community. There's 5,000 people following, 5,400 people following. Only 158 people like this, and this is all it takes to do that. Boom, click, liked. 26 people reshared it. Here's a post. More bridges, more dependencies, more moving parts. Innovation matters, but so does simplicity. Quote from Bobby Gray. Here's a whole post. Again, the same 56 people liked it. 11 reshared it. Of 5,000 people, only 50 can take the time to like this. Huge event at the Crypto Polo Cup. 63 people liked it, 15 reshared it. 59 liked it. There's a common participation level of just 50 people, 50, 60 people. And it costs no money to do that. You're participating in the project, you're helping contribute. You never know what you're going to share and who's going to see it and who's going to resonate, and they're going to want to participate with it as well. And then they come in and they're like, hey, I could get some of the coins. But right now, the best way to get a good pile is not to try to come in and start mining them, it's to come in and start buying them to get this price above this volume weighted moving average and drive forward towards the upper band of the 11s and get into the 12 to push in above 12. And we want to push up to 15 and beyond. Won't take very much. Let's come into here and go to coinmarketcap.com. This just kind of shows how thin the liquidity is of this project and how susceptible it is to people leaving or not thinking that there's enough action in the project and moving onward. This flat volume is because most of the participation is from market makers. Any of the people that have came in and are doing their normal $100 a day or $20 a day or $100 a week are not influencing the market because the market makers are just balancing those orders and creating the transactions for the ones that happen. So if somebody comes in, puts in a couple $100, but they can't get that order fulfilled, then the market makers have to move it. And that's why this is pretty flat. But if you look at this 2% depth over down here on the exchanges, and again, these exchanges are still lacking some important information because PINX is the international version, Weebot is the American version, Coinstore.com has it, WeX has it, and they're not listed on here. So that's disappointing. Um, and let's see. You have no 2% depth shown because there's not a big enough order book. And you can see that it would take almost nothing to move the price up 2%. $300 to move the price up 2%, move the entire market up 2% on that simple exchange would only take $300. Now there are a lot of sell orders set up or buy orders set, I'm sorry, on this side that would hold it from going down that fast. But yeah, very thin liquidity. And something to look at and kind of consider right now that this mining, we're talking about the merge mining, Dogecoin, Litecoin, Bells, and there's another one, or I think there's actually several script mining coins that they can start mining and take large blocks from. And currently, it's net positive, where the mines not only do they pay for themselves as far as their utility cost, they're paying for their rent um, of the land and the facilities that they're at, and there's a positive. That's crazy because it's only about 30% of the 100 terahash has been purchased. And only about what is it, like 7% is installed, and 22% is sold. So we're about to triple the mine output, and it's already profitable, and it's gonna be there. So the fact that a profitable mining uh, itself, the equipment alone is worth more than the $7 million. It's going to be profitably mining, and that equipment is worth more than $7. But the community has only seen this project is worth $7 million. This should at least be 3 or 4 times that solely on the equipment alone. If they gave up and just sold the equipment or got rid of it or turned it over to somebody else, that equipment's worth more than what the project is valued at right now. So it's very crazy to me, the limited participation, and I get it. There's a lot of people who've already put in a lot of money, and this is not financial advice by any means. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling people to come in and put in more money. You can go in and participate, going on social medias and sharing what's going on, telling a friend about it. CryptoU.ai, Zero Chill Games, among other projects. Crypto Pop is coming out, and that's just from the project within itself. The community can be putting out projects. The once they see these use cases come out, somebody could have a project that they're getting ready to launch on a different network and be like, "Oh, I'd rather launch it out with you guys. This is kind of cool. I like what you guys are doing." More projects come, more projects, more eyes, more buys. That's how it goes. So participating on social media is probably the biggest thing that you can do to impact the price of Texacoin, because more people need to see it. More people need to know that it's there in order for them to go out and look into possibly putting some money into it. And if that's what they want to do, um, the the members that are already here themselves, they see that it's worth more than 11 cents. So when you're trying to buy some, I encourage you to buy it and then immediately put some for sale. Actively participating in the exchange and trading some, getting profit, making sure that you're making profit along the way, but buy it at 10 cents, sell it at 12 cents, buy it at 11 cents, sell it at 14 cents, buy it at 12 cents, sell it at 15 cents. Create the volume that's circulating, and actively putting those sales in there and those buys where you're buying and putting in that volume and the activity. The market makers will have to match the prices up to make that liquidity come up there to those orders. If the only coins available are higher, people have to come up to them. So if you're within this community, I encourage you to not try to bargain hunt and drive the price down and pull the liquidity down, creating more selling pressure, but push the price back and see the value that it is at 10 cents, and knowing that it's worth more than that. Just the mining equipment alone. I use an example of like book value on a stock, like Intel, and 2024, in that fall winter 2024, Intel was trading between $18 and $20, and their book value was $23. So that means that if they just said, you know what, we're done, let's just sell, we have cash, and let's sell our assets, let's pay off our debt, and let's see what we got left over, would have been $23 and a share is what they would have been valued at. But they were trading at 18 because people didn't see the value. People were hung up that the CEO left on bad terms and set them up with some older technology and weren't developing fast enough. They were focusing on the foundry, and that was very expensive, and not focusing on chips and GPUs. And that's what NVIDIA was doing. They should have been doing what NVIDIA was doing. But if you look at Intel the last couple days, they're actually taking off like crazy, because exactly what they did is they positioned themselves by building a good foundation. They built that foundry, um, that is making the chips. These guys that need the chips made, we don't need to rely on Taiwan Semiconductor. Um, look down here, and it was $20, and that was not too long ago. And then everybody else saw the value, and then here's a recent shift and pivot where we just took off quickly. Am I saying that TXC is going to do that? I don't know. But you build a strong foundation, you build the real utility, you build the components and all the possibilities, And the people that benefit are the ones that are down here that are following this action and saying, dang, it's going down, dang, it's going down. But they have good stuff going on. There's good stuff still there on what they have. And they're coming. Watch this. Let's do weekly. So if you do, so you see these guys here. This is the dot-com crash. Boom. After 2000 internet crash, people people down here are the ones that saw the potential and saw that tech was still there, saw the internet and computers for what it was, and took advantage of this run back up. And I'm going to keep that one out. And so then you had this. These guys took advantage. A lot of ups and downs as stuff was going on. Very volatile. We have COVID, financial crises, um, COVID, and then took off. And then here, if you go look at this range, this is almost like a cease and desist, but it's the CEO just not doing a great job. A little bit of recovery, but they didn't like it and got into this low price. But you see the value and you take advantage in these and this, and then you reap the rewards up here. Am I trying to say that that's 100% going to happen here in TXC? I, I don't know, but I see good projects on the horizon. Crypto U, Zero Chill Games. I'm even making a game. I have a layer two token, and I've heard of a couple other people who are actively trying to make layer two tokens and build these out. Online casino. A lot of people like to gamble. I like going to the casino. I like playing craps. And being able to do that with crypto is becoming a big thing. And Texas is involved in that. Um, what do we got? Zero chill gaming, and then the gaming is itself. The zero chill guys are looking at trying to push out almost a game a quarter at least, and put out some activity. And that doesn't include somebody who's sitting there making a game and is like, oh, I want to launch mine. I'm going to launch it over there. I like what they're doing. That's cool. Boom. All of a sudden, there's two games or three games, and it snowballs very quickly to where this comes from 3 or 4 games to 10 games. And games are $126 billion a year in revenue in mobile games. Not saying that TXC is going to take all of that or a big chunk of that market, but any of that right now, with being such a thin liquidity, such thin participation, such minimal effort, it would not take much for those who have the conviction in the bottom for this to turn around very quickly. I say that as the prices, as we're seeing the price go down this last week, and people are sitting there probably saying, "You're absolutely crazy. There's no bottom in sight." Well, you never know when the bottom is, but I for one never try to buy the specific bottom. My risk reward is what I like to do is a dollar cost averaging. I'll buy and come down, and then when it pivots, then I keep buying on the way up too. Because I want to keep that momentum going, and if I still believe and I still have conviction in the project, then you keep going with it. And is this going to be $1, $2, $3, $10, $20, whatever? Who knows? The potential is there for crypto adoption. You never know how much a project is going to be adopted. You don't know the potential to put a cap on it, and it's impossible to call the bottom. But if we see better participation on social media, where if you see the potential in this project and you're sharing it, not just with your friends and personal direct, because you don't have to share it there. You can just share it on social media, give it that engagement. You hear somebody talking about cryptocurrency, you're like, oh yeah, I really like honest money. I love the movement and the project that Texacoin's behind, trying to promote that honest money, like what crypto was originally designed for. And just by that little to the elevator pitch, 10th floor, and you have a little bit of a ride, and you see somebody that has a Bitcoin shirt, like, oh, Bitcoin's really cool. I'm in Texacoin. I also like, some of my smaller projects, the little startup, but man, they got some cool things going on. Just that alone is actively participating, and that you don't have to go in there and put $100 into the market every Friday. We're not trying to build that up. Now, building that liquidity pool is great. I strongly advise people to look into doing some of these bots, because if you're wanting to put liquidity in there and you're wanting to participate in the market, a great way to do it is to come into pionex.us, pionex.com for international, or you go into Webot if you're a US, webot.com. You can come in and get a grid trading bot for free. They take the fees out of the trades. You set the lower limit to go into under $1. You have to start with a zero, 0.09, and 0.25 or 27. In that little price range, try to do 75 grids. We could even, or, 75. No, let's do 80, 90. I like 90. 90 is not a bad number. 120. 120 is about where I would go. Maybe 111. I like that number. 100. 100 is an even better number. Because you look at this number right here, the profit per grid fee deducted. So they take a fee out, and then this is what you're going to make profit-wise per trade. 0.47% to 1.79%. Not that big of a, not a huge profit, but you're accumulating. And what that means is while it's accumulating, so even though I'm way down, these guys, the holdings are way down. I started these up at 15 and 20 cents. These are way, way down. But on the way down, I've made $29 with this one. I made $16 with this one, $43 with this one. This one is not trading. Why is it not? Oh, it just moved over. um Reinvesting $30 with this one, $29 with this one. So over this time and these are all, and they're buying TXC for 10 cents. So if you took $30, let's go into manual, at 11 cents. Oh, no, about $30, I just got myself 265 extra TXC with that bot running versus if I would have just came in on the first day, bought some, and then left it. And while the price has gone down, it's made me an extra 265 TXC. So as the price goes up, it's going to turn that into profit. It's making that extra profit per. So once that one actually goes green, and it's unfortunate that, let me see, placed order. Let me go to one that's active. Placed orders, overview, break even 15 cents, transactions. I bought it at 15.88. Initially bought 790, and I've made at least 265, or no, on this one, 16, so half that. 130 extra TXC. So, this one initially was a 790 TXC, and I'm going to be over 1,000 TXC with this bot once it goes. So I've gone back and forth between the USDT and I added some along the way. So that's what's coming. That's a possibility that if you want to participate, being active consistently, not just one time go away. The grid bots are a great tool to inject that liquidity and create active volume going up and down. And getting more eyes to see it. You don't have to go and tell everybody, hey, you need to put $100 in the TXC, go buy some, go buy some, go buy some. You don't need to tell anybody that. You don't have to do that if you're like, you know what? I bought my mining seat, I've bought some TXC, I have a grid bot going. I'm pretty much good. I want to see the results. 100% understandable. Great, great stance to take, and I commend you for that. Go on CoinMarketCap, market bullish to make sure that the community knows that we like this project. Go onto social media and like and share the posts on your X account. Even just liking the post. If you don't want to share it because you don't want to cloud up your social media with cryptocurrency posts, just go like it. That 50 to 60 likes on X versus 5,000 plus followers, it should be thousands of likes. So just make sure There are multiple ways. Make sure you know that there are multiple ways to participate and take advantage. So let's go ahead, stop sharing this. And yeah, markets, we are going down, but it's it's so thin that even in this down, it will just as quickly go up. I haven't lost conviction. I have faith in the project. Personally, I've been buying. I bought some today this morning. I think I bought another $500 worth of TXC, and I've got my. Let me see if I can see my. This is just my TXC one. I'm at 53,000 TXC in this wallet. This is my one exchange wallet. I have a couple accounts, and I also have my mining account. But in just my Weebot that I have, where I'm pretty much exclusively using TXC for, as you can see, that's all I've been doing. 53,000 TXC on that one. So I like this. I like this project. I'm hopeful and optimistic that it turns around. See some things start working and moving in the right direction. So uh, I'm gonna leave that there. We'll see you guys Wednesday. We're gonna get into some education stuff. I think I'm gonna break out of um, the curriculum around, not I'm breaking out, not by breaking out of the curriculum, but I'm breaking away from the barter trade and value and generics. And let's start getting into crypto. We're going to start talking about blockchain. We're going to start talking about cold wallets. We're going to start talking about spam. And I think the crypto U has done a great job in giving those basics. So let's get caught up and let's get going with the crypto side. And hopefully next week, we see a little bit of a reversal and see some a better number than 10 cents on TXC. Hopefully that polo event is great today. That would be phenomenal as well. And yeah, everybody have a great weekend. See you guys on the next one.